Today we review the Assos GT Winter Booties. Hello legends and super legends, welcome to Veloharmony. In today's review we take a look at Assos iteration of their winter booty. They call it the GT Winter Booties. Those of you who follow the channel, the last ride we're on in the rain, it was cold and wet. So even though they're rain booties, they have like a rain overshoe. They call it the RS rain overshoes. They're for all year. They kept the water out. They kept my feet dry, but they're not warm. It's just like almost like a shell. But they did their job because I've been searching for overshoes that keep water from getting in my shoes. And so they did their job, so I was thrilled. But my issue was I had purchased earlier the Ultras. I'll put the link here to the video I made. The Ultras winter overshoes that they have. And although it's nice and warm and everything, it only kept the water out for 2 hours. But to their defense, they did not sell it as waterproof. It has DWR treatment in the fabric. It's very warm, but it will only resist water, light showers and so forth for a limited period of time. And that's going to vary. And I'm tired of these things that resist. I want something that's rainproof, waterproof. And that's where I ended up getting these. I got a copy of the winter booties here from Assos. They come in this plastic bag that says 90%. It says I'm green on it. I don't know if you can see that with the camera and all that, but it says I'm green. Then it says 91% bio-based carbon content. A lot of the manufacturers are moving towards carbon neutrality. My first impression taking it out of the bag before I turned on the camera was, listen to that. I think Assos has finally, they already got it right with the X3 version that they have. I call it X3 because they call it X, meaning for all seasons, because they have the different codes. 3 out of 3 is for winter, 1 out of 3 is summer, and then 2 out of 3 is spring, fall. Well, the overshoes, the rain overshoes, the RS rain overshoes that I wore are for all year. It's like a raincoat for your feet, and they did their job 100%. I have not done an official review on it. And if you guys put a note in there if you want a review on it, but when you go there, all the overshoes are grouped together. This one now, the reason I was rubbing this is, it's nice to get an overshoe that there's no treatment. This fabric they took from their winter jackets that's weatherproof, meaning the same fabric that worked on the jacket to keep you dry. And I had mentioned it in my narration on one of the group rides where I said, why don't you take the fabric from the jacket and make something out of for the feet or the hands. I think I was talking about the hands because my hands got really cold with the Extremo. And so they use the jacket material on here, and I'm going to read the tech specs before I put it on so you can see. But this thing here, no water's going through. There's no water going through. You don't have to worry about no DWR treatment. Then they have the little reinforced thing on the front here. And inside of that, on the underside, they put some almost like a vinyl material. So there is no water ingress. Of course, the seams are the standard quality Assos. And this thing is so nice and pliable. It'll be easy to get on, easy to get off. I like their overshoes because they don't compress your foot too much. You don't feel like your shoes are too tight and so forth. They just get on there and you forget you're wearing overshoes because they're low volume, but they pack a punch in that these are warm and waterproof, so they're for cold and wet. So let me read you what they say. They've got the 3.3 climate code, which denotes winter. That blue tag, they use blue for all their winter stuff, like the Ultras and so forth. But what they're talking about here, the GT Winter Booties, the write-up says the GT Winter Booties are the same membrane-backed Neos material as in our winterproof jackets, keeping your feet and ankles fully protected in cold winter conditions. And I'm going to go into the tech details. They call finer details. Neos Medium. They have Neos Medium, and they've got different thickness of materials that they use. They have Osmos medium, Osmos heavy. I talked about it in there. Winter bib ties. This is Neos medium. That's the primary textile. Whenever they say primary textile, that means they've got different textiles layered in this one thing. So they said Neos medium is the primary textile used as its 3L soft shell with PU bonded membrane breathes, blocks wind and water, and adds big doses of insulation to your feet and ankles. So it does a lot. It keeps you warm, dry, and your feet are not going to sweat because it breathes. Now they're talking about the construction now. The booties feature a reverse cam lock zipper. These are good because they don't move inadvertently. That's what the reverse cam lock, they basically put them down. They're not going to slide on you when you're riding. Then they say that zero cuff creates the smoothest transition possible between your legs and the fabric, furthering the aerodynamic profile. What they're talking about here is up here. They just these raw cut. They do that on their jerseys and so forth. This is something they're doing on all their booties, and I can confirm that it really does mate really well. And you know, most of these things, the weak points, even in the ones that get wet early on, is water running down your leg and getting in there. So with this raw cut, that should prevent that, because on the rain shoes that I wore, the RS rain cover for all seasons, I didn't have any problems. Only where the sock came up too high to leave a gap. So you got to watch those gaps. But I'm just thrilled that the body of this, the zipper is sealed. This material, no water will get in. So I don't care how long it rains. You don't have to worry about that. So let's get this tag off. This is made in Italy, by the way, for those of you who wanted to know. They make their products all over the world pretty much. A lot of it Bulgaria and different places. So let's get this off. They route this through the zipper because they're trying not to mess with the seams, which makes sense. You don't want any holes on this thing. So this little plastic tie or whatever that is routed through the zipper hole, not through the fabric. So they use this zipper and they routed it through there, so they didn't put any holes in here. Makes sense. I like this little tag right here that keeps the zipper from touching your skin. Makes it very comfortable when it's up against the skin right there, because that's the top of the zipper there. They do that a lot on all their stuff. So let me go ahead and put it on to just show you how it looks. But before I do that, I want to show you the seams and just how beautiful this thing is. Let me come over here. It might work better. I'm hoping you can see that. I mean, look at the stitching here. Like a work of art. And look at the bottom of it. The quality is just clear. Everything is wrapped, everything is sealed. It's taped down here. Trying to see if there's anything unique on the inside. The inside material, this is what keeps you warm. It's almost like little squares in there, that Neos material that breathes and blocks wind and water. I just like that. There's nothing going through here. So it's one way. You breathe out, nothing else goes in. Keeps you warm as well because it's blocking wind and water, and then your feet breathe. You can't ask for more. So holding this in my hand, I have every confidence. It's like a raincoat for your feet that breathes. So let me put this on. Let me move the camera so you can see me put it on, because I want you to see how easy it is. Because some of the overshoes can be a pain to get on, especially some of the neoprene overshoes that are out there. And once you put them on, they put a lot of compression on your shoe and your feet feel numb during the ride, especially on a long ride. I'm going to slip these shoes on real quickly. Whenever I wear overshoes, I try to make sure my socks are not too long. So if you have long length socks, that's not the time to use those. so they don't interfere with the transition of the overshoe and your leg, your lower leg. I'm putting these shoes on because if anything's going to be uncomfortable, is this one with the string. The Velcro shoes that I have, they're easily regulated, or even the ones with bore. Since these are the toughest ones to regulate, they're laces, they have laces, so I use them when I'm testing stuff like this to see how they would feel. Because once I'm riding with this thing on, you're not going to have access to your laces because they're in the overshoes. So they make them low volume, which just feels like a jacket for your feet. Just nice and light, easy to use, nice and malleable. This is what I wanted to show. A lot of overshoes, when you're putting it on, you got to get under there, try to clear the cleat. If you watch, all I'm doing is I'm putting it on over my shoe. I'm getting my fingers and my thumb on the side especially, and just rolling it over the cleat. I don't even have to look there. It's just getting on like you're putting on a sock on the shoe. It's that lightweight. And depending on your cleat system, I mean, even if you have to look there, it's not the end of the world. But you want to make sure you get that in there. So what I do when I get to this point, I lift the top. The bottom is still, the cleat grabs because I have Shimano cleats, and the sides of them, they've got those walking things on there. They grab the edge. So all you got to do is, it's very elastic. So I just pulled it down like that, and it goes under here, out of the way. You don't want it affecting your ability to clip in. And that's what I've experienced with all the shoe covers from Assos. They're easy to get out of the way. Now that I've cleared the cleat, you just grab the bottom of the overshoe where the heel hole is. I'll do it like this so you can see. And all you're doing is pulling it back. See that? It just gets on the back of your shoe. Easy. This thing inspires a lot of confidence. It is clear there will be no water ingress anywhere on the body of this thing. So now, let me zip it up. There's this blue tag, you want to make sure it goes up against your skin. So you see the zipper right there, and this will protect. Now look how it mates with the leg. And I may have to do a blow up in post-production for you to really see it. But two things that got me every time I would put on their stuff. First of all, it looks good. Second of all, it's easy to do. I mean, you see that. I was explaining as I went along. Easy to put on, of course, easy to take off. You don't have to fight with it. Some of the overshoes, I've had to remove my shoe with it on, with the overshoe on the shoe before I could get it out without damaging the overshoe. That is not the case with their stuff. This thing gets on, I don't feel like I'm wearing an overshoe. I love this material, this jacket material that they use. You know, don't get me wrong, I'm sure when they made their first one, they had little issues and so forth. They continue to improve it. This iteration here, it makes it clear that there will be no water going through the body of this fabric, because I have their S7 overshoes from prior seasons, and over time the water did go through. But this thing here feels like a jacket material. Like they said, it's not going to let any water. I don't even need to run water on this thing. You can just feel it. That's why I rubbed it for you guys. I'm going to put on the second one so you can see when they're both on how they look. I like to look good, and most cyclists do. Which is a good thing. You look good, you feel good. So even when I'm feeling slow, if I look good, I enjoy it. I forget about being slow. I like to look good. Even if I get dropped, as long as I look good, I'm cool. So let's see here. So I've got the bottom in already. You see how easy that was. If you've ever had trouble putting on overshoes, you'll know what I mean. Now that it's over the cleat already, I just pulled this. I usually like to work on the side with the zipper. It's very elastic. It just sucks up the back of the shoe. And your heel, you can hear it, that's the heel of my shoe. The overshoe is not touching the ground at all. Just the heel. It gets on there. The key is to make sure you size it correctly. This one is there 2, they go like 0, 1, 2, I believe. And 2 is like 40, I think 44 or something to 47 or something like that. So I'm right in the middle at 45 Euro size, which is 11 US. So if you size it correctly, you should be okay. So let me zip this up. You want to make sure that blue thing is behind the zipper. Sometimes it tries to get in the track. And I'm going to stand up so you can see this. I don't like any pointiness on the thing on the toe. If you size them wrong and it's too big, you get a lot of excess material in the front. Let me back up a little bit so you can see this. I will probably blow it up in post-production. But that's how it looks. It looks good. And immediately, it is not that cold in here. Today we're about probably 10 Celsius right now. Temperature dropped overnight, but that's outside. Look at the aesthetics. It just looks good. In fact, it looks so good, I don't like to put tights over it. So this would be great with like knee warmers or something. It just looks good. I love showing that blue. So these are the GT RS Winter Booties from Assos for cold, wet, windy, whatever weather. It will keep your feet protected from all of those. To that effect, let nothing stop you from getting your K's in.